For now, Thoth must spend 1 or 2 of his divine days teaching his cherished creatures the art of living. He gives them a tree as their chief habitat. Not just any old tree, but the Masaï Mara's giant fig tree. It's a place where they can meet, sleep, and use as a lookout post. The baboons like their tree so much that they're only driven from it by hunger. In the morning, the first to start feeling peckish gives the signal, and the others follow. As soon as the canopies tenants have left, the occupants of the 2 lower levels appear. First are the ants. They feed on the dead bark. The lizard comes out to reheat his cold blood in the morning sun. Further down, a rat lives in the fig tree's root labyrinth. Meanwhile, the baboons are on the move along the riverbed. It has almost dried up, but its banks are a precious store, providing bulbs, roots and tubers, the baboons' main food source. The adults stuff themselves while the young play, knowing that after their mothers have eaten, well, it will be their turn. Reedbuck have impressive antlers which are particularly effective for chasing unwelcome visitors, but there's no danger for the baboons. Thoth wanted the Masaï Mara to be a permanent oasis, and so it was. The still plants are in sufficient number and variety for the region's inhabitants to have their fill almost all the year round. There's no feeding competition either between the monkeys and this bird, the saddle-bill stork or jabiru. In fact, the baboons live in harmony with all the vegetarians of the Masaï Mara, even the elephants. The baboons' search for food takes them to the opposite riverbank, far from the fig tree. They wander about the vast marshy plains, the feeding place of all sorts of other herbivores. For pulling up grass and unearthing bulbs, the baboons have a number of techniques that they can use simultaneously: the fingers, especially the thumb, the fingernails, teeth, and lips. The young acquire this know-how by mimicking the adults. The baboons take their time eating, so much so that they've spent 6 hours of their first day of existence feeding, and it will always be so. At the end of the afternoon, Alpha gives the signal to leave, the feast is over, and it's back to the fig tree for the troop. Thoth doesn't lose any time himself in falling into a blissful sleep, safe in the knowledge that he has created the perfect world. On Earth, too, it's time for bed. Darkness falls and all the members of Alpha's troop are settled in for the night. Each one chooses a branch and a comfortable spot. Baboons sleep for about 8 hours a night in 2-hour cycles. Just as well, because like Thoth, they are terrified of darkness and have very poor night vision. While most of the troop sleep, a few females who are suckling stay on guard. Up until now, everything is going well for the baboons. But one fine morning, Thoth woke up with a furious craving for figs. Bursting with goodness, the fruit of the most beautiful tree in the Masaï Mara is at last ripe. Thoth has been jealously guarding these figs for a long time, and they are forbidden to all mortals. To ensure his wishes are respected, Thoth has dispatched an emissary to Earth. The divine guardian is the same colour as the forbidden fruits. His name is Green Mamba. A camouflage ace with mortal venom. In some, he's a dissuasive character. Thoth knows Green Mamba's operating instructions. Leave to heat for several seconds in the morning sun. When its cold blood has attained ambient temperature, it's capable of detecting any suspect movements. And just a few minutes later, its forked tongue can capture odours floating in the air. This is how you obtain a Green Mamba fit to kill outright any fig-loving baboons. The baboons are not aware of Thoth's plans, but they're instinctively mistrustful of all animals who don't enter the category eater of still plants. Still, they just can't resist the temptation of the ripe figs, so they try to distance themselves from this strange animal who tries to pass himself off as a vegetable. The youngest don't know how to get rid of the slithery killjoy. But Alpha has developed a safe and efficient method. Once the serpent has been forgotten, Alpha can enjoy the forbidden fruits in peace. But what is written is written. Alpha should have known not to mess with divine injunctions, but the temptation was too much. All those juicy figs. And now the whole troop has started stuffing itself. No holds barred. Celestial fury descends progressively upon Earth. For each fig plucked, eaten, or spoilt, the anger of Thoth gathers force over the savanna. Frightened by the menacing sky, the youngest leave the extremities of the branches and take refuge near the trunk. But Alpha isn't intimidated, and he carries on eating regardless, provoking Thoth to open the gates of the heavens. Torrential rain begins to pour on the Masaï Mara. It will continue every day at dusk for 2 months, because it was Thoth, after all, who invented the calendar and the seasons. The first season is the short, rainy season. It has been raining throughout November and December. The Talek River has filled its bed, cutting the plains in two and making life difficult for the baboons. The baboons were accustomed to crossing the river on foot in search of food, and now they'll have to find another way across. Once again, Alpha's experience should help them to find a solution to the problem. In fact, the clouds of Thoth's anger had a silver lining, as the rains have brought tender shoots up from the fertile soil. There's no need anymore to travel far and wide to find food, and the young baboons profit from their extra leisure time to invent a new game. The whole savanna enjoys the results of Thoth's outburst. As the baboons explored their renewed pastures, they distanced themselves from their habitual fig tree neighbourhood. And a solitary elephant makes the most of their absence to gather some burgeoning green branches. Nearby, all sorts of herbivores savour the tender new grass. And not far away, some termites are also making the most of the changes to their environment. The rain showers have broken up the soil, enabling them to build their earthen cathedrals. The savanna's profile will soon take on a new form when the work of these labourers is completed in a few days' time. The rains have stopped, and the humid heat begins to reduce the river flow. It becomes almost stagnant. The rat, the fig tree's garden tenant, has been waiting for this moment for a long time. The tiny water droplets suspended in the air transport tempting odours. There's definitely a smell of nuts, but there's a meaty smell too, and his nose doesn't let him down. It was exactly what he was hoping for, a xylophage beetle larva. The dead wood that these larvae have been consuming gives off the nutty odour. With its cutting incisors and rasping molars, the rat's teeth are perfectly adapted for its omnivorous diet. Once it's been crushed, the larva will be gulped down in a few minutes. The rat appears to be very hygienic, but there's more to it than that. It has to get rid of the nut smell trapped in its fur before it can sniff out more prey. The tempting nut odour also reaches Alpha and his troops' nostrils. The baboons have returned to the vicinity of their fig tree. The dead acacia branches have been softened by the rain, allowing xylophage larvae to dig new tunnels. The smell of this still plant is enough to give a vegetarian mobile animal a taste for carnivorous things. Alpha exercises his right of precedence. Then the young follow, imitating him in their own manner. But hierarchy obliges them to give up their place when another adult comes along. All this place-swapping is rather disturbing for the other branch occupants, the ants. They had made their latest home here, but the news gets round quickly that it's time for immediate removal. The scouts get their information from their antennae, and they're insistent. There are no other emergency exit tunnels within the branch, so the move has to be made by the exterior, under guard of the soldiers. Oh, and bypassing, if possible, the hairy, non-identified objects. Unlike figs, larvae are not forbidden food, so what has brought the green mamba to the neighbourhood? Well, it's not the baboons, but a potential prey, a lizard. Faced with this elite killing machine, the only chance the lizard has of escaping is to camouflage himself in the grass. The trick has smothered his tracks. Confused, the serpent doesn't know which way to look. And watch carefully, because there's about to be an incredible reversal in this situation. The snake is slowly asphyxiated.